Good morning, everyone, in person and on Zoom. Austin, let's kick us off right away. Hope everyone had a nice Easter weekend if you celebrate Easter. And today, right after this meeting, we have the Atomic Habits Book Club with Josh from Academy. So last time was the first one, and we are just talking about chapter 1 at this one. So if you missed last week, just don't worry, just come to this week. And it's in the front room right after this meeting. And thank you, Josh, for providing the books. Okay, we have a really good CE class on Wednesday in this room, 11 o'clock, origins of zoning and zoning updates. This is something that's always good to know because they're always changing. So it's put on by Lawyer's Title. There will be lunch and register for that. This is a good one. We have people from even other brokerages already registered because it's such a good one.
Austin, why is this important right now, understanding the zoning updates?
Oh, are you talking about like a specific city in general, or just
For Oregon?
for Oregon?
What do we talk about?
Like stuff like that?
Yeah, exactly.
HB 2001.
HB 2001, they're going to give us the update.
Middle housing,
And
yes.
I'm
Middle
sure
housing.
Lake Oswego probably has rolled out all their code by now around how you can build up to 4 units on a single family lot now.
Mhm.
And that is going to change Portland probably more significantly than the urban growth boundary did.
It actually already is. I was talking to a guy last weekend at a thing, and he's actually going to come on a call here at a meeting in next week. But yeah, huge changes. Like, it's changing the way builders are building on the east side of town.
Already, they're taking
Already,
advantage of
yep,
it.
yep. They're
I think I've only seen one on the west side that
Mhm.
looked like it was a multiplex on
Yeah.
a single lot.
they're taking 5,000 square foot lots and building 4 plexes and making condos. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and the rules are for Oregon, but then the cities are adopting and implementing
Mhm.
in different ways, right? So it's really important to know. And, we talk a lot about being the economist of choice for our clients, but knowing about this kind of stuff is you're providing more value to them, right?
Mhm.
If you can at least tell them the basics of zoning. And it also does the opposite, right? It discredits you if you don't know anything and they're asking you about the possibility of an ADU. So come to this, you need to at least know the basics, and this should be a really good topic.
Yep.
I'll be there.
I had a coffee with the client. I'll keep this short.
Okay.
I had a coffee with the client a couple of months ago, and he is about 60. Kids are gone. Just he and his wife. He planned on working 5 more years, but then his company got bought out. And he had a new manager, and he wasn't doing well with his new manager. And so he called and said, "Can we have coffee? I want to talk to you about what's out there that I can do." He's a handyman. I've sold 4 houses for him in the last 20 years. They fix them up, and then they call me and they're ready to move again. And my conversation with him was in part to watch this new zoning law, because this would allow an owner occupant baby boomer like Peter and I. Were you a baby boomer? No, you missed it. No, I guess I'm the last one. So okay. To live in a home on a single family lot and have 2 rentals to collect income from. Right? Because as you get older, I've pounded the pulpit on this. Social Security is not enough to live on. Like my Social Security after paying in for 40 years is going to be about 40% more than our healthcare premium each month. So it doesn't cover all the healthcare costs on the side, just the healthcare premium. And so you can't live on it, folks. And that's what's happening to baby boomers across the country right now. So this for Oregon gives them a chance to live in a duplex or a threeplex or a fourplex, potentially transfer the equity from their home, which was my guy's case because they own their home free and clear now. And so we talked about transferring it into either one of these or a simple duplex or a threeplex, and then renting them out and collecting the income to live on with Social Security, because they both get it in the next few years. So anyway, this stuff is really, really important on the surface. You might think, oh, zoning, who cares? I don't care about zoning. But the reality is this will change your life in the next 5 years if you know how to talk about it. And the fact is, if you hold an open house and 5 people come through and one of them starts to talk about this stuff and you know how to answer it, you'll have clients.
That is a good,
That's how you separate yourself from everyone else, is you
Mhm.
understand these little things.
yeah, love it. Okay, next up, Austin's tech class tomorrow, 1 to 2. And do you want to talk about it, Austin?
Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
Why not? So kind of going through the linear path of command, the next class we did, last week we did dashboard setting things up. Now we're going into the database, the contacts, everything like that, the cool functions that it allows. So I'm not going to go over how to add a contact necessarily, but the cool functions that contacts can do and where that all starts. And so come on in. It's going to be a lot about the management of it and just little quick hacks that you can use to just immediately within minutes or seconds send something to a client.
I love
more
it.
than one client. So
And we're calling this a workshop because you will actually do things in it, right? You'll come out with some kind of benefit. It won't just be learning, even though that is a benefit. But you'll actually be working on your business and doing something really productive during that time. So Wednesday, 1 to 2. And if you are a newer agent that was in Tanya's PC program, this replaces one of those time slots. So with the intention to go to that.
Mhm.
So thanks, Austin.
oh, I guess the next here.
Next, well, I'm gonna talk about the first event. You can come up. So some of you guys get emails and texts from Glover University. They are a coach and they teach different classes. So he's coming to town and teaching a class at the Embassy Suites on a new market, a new plan. It's like 17 ways to win this summer. And the class is 9:30 to 12:30, and that costs $39. And if anyone's interested in that, we can share the link to that. So that's the first part of it. And then Austin will talk.
Yeah, so KWYP, the Portland chapter, we've set up a free event after that for anyone to go to, which is essentially a consolidated version of the one right before, the longer version.
Cool.
And so Jeff Grover himself, he's going to instruct it. It's an hour. But 12:30 to 1:30 at the same place, the Washington Square Embassy Suites. So not too far from here. And it is open to anyone, not just the KWYP members who have paid the monthly or yearly dues. If you're interested in checking out Keller Williams Young Professionals and seeing what that's all about, or if you're young at heart, you're welcome to come. So yeah.
Oh,
So you're good.
cool.
Good.
Do you have to?
Almost a
register?
baby boomer.
Just show us.
There is an Eventbrite link. I've sent it out to hopefully all of the KWYP eligible members in Keller Williams in the Portland area, with maybe some exceptions of people who recently joined.
Hmm.
But if you are interested, just reach out to me. I can send you the link directly. So,
Mhm. Or we can even post both of them in the Facebook, but it's tomorrow. So
yeah, I'm not quick.
quick turnaround. And then another cool event. So Rick Gray, who's come in here and presented to us and given some coaching, and some of you guys do coaching with him. He's having a class on AI and from data. It's called Real Estate is Changing from Data to Deals. And that is on Zoom. Tuesday, the 18th at 6:00 PM. And so that's the link to register and it is free. Is that correct, Austin? Free. So just another chance to hear from Rick and the AI developer that he has as a special guest. And I know it was kind of cool. Austin taught us about Chat GPT a little bit ahead of the game before there's a lot more trainings and things about it.
Mhm.
But I'm sure this will be good because Rick Gray is great and if he has a guest. So just another thing that you guys can attend.
I think we have a CE class coming up in a couple weeks too about using AI. We're just setting it up right now. We just got the instructor confirmed. We'll have more information in a couple weeks about that.
Taking over the world, right? We got,
Yeah, and I'd say
Never.
Austin, that graphic is fantastic.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
did.
That's really good.
Morning.
is that a robot taking?
It's fantastic.
You
That's
should
really
send
good.
it to Rick. He probably said it's perfect.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
fantastic.
So register for that and then you'll be able to, you'll get the link and everything if you do that QR code. And then next week on Thursday at 11:00, our very own Peter Clark.
This is on your calendar. I know.
You like that picture, don't you?
Yeah. Where's that wig from?
Tom Cruise here.
That's the one you wore last.
Pricing strategies with Peter Clark. And many of you know that Peter is so good at pricing and digging into CMAs and looking at all the numbers. And with our market and things are changing and it's not as easy just to pull the, the comps from the last year as it used to be. So Peter will teach everyone how he's pricing things right now in our current market of the moment. And you don't have to register for that. You just show up this room Thursday next week.
Laptop and an address.
Bring your laptop and an address and get ready to learn.
Go from start to finish.
I love
Love
it. Good stuff, Peter. Okay, and we wanted to announce that we have a location and partner for Red Day. So this year, Red Day is Thursday, May 11th. So mark your calendars. Hopefully you all know, but Red Day is a day that all Keller Williams offices around the world close and commit to a day of service in the communities that we serve. So it's about working alongside each other. It's about giving back within our community and, coming together with all Keller Williams. So we are partnering with the Rebuilding Center and they are, I'll just read that actually. The Rebuilding Center promotes climate justice by making reuse and repair accessible to all, reducing waste and empowering homeowners and renters. They connect people with useful building materials and offer repair skill classes to teach safe, affordable, and sustainable home repairs. And I met one of the women from this organization at a PMAR advocacy meeting, and they do a lot because we think about housing affordability as like in our industry, like the housing, right? But there's so much to that affordability component is like keeping up with the houses and doing maintenance. So they provide a way where you can donate and then you can buy less expensively building materials, repair materials. They teach people how to do things themselves. So they're a great organization. They have a big warehouse on Mississippi Avenue. And yeah, no,
Amazing sound.
oh, okay. So anyways, mark your calendar for that. We always do like a morning for a few hours and then have some kind of lunch happy hour afterwards. We're working, one of Cameron's friends owns a place down the street, so we might be going to that. But right for now, mark your calendars. And if you want to do any more research, it's called the Rebuilding Center. Okay.
Suspense is building.
Now the suspense is building, but we're going to talk about, I think next is the top producers. So this is year to date through March. So through 1/4 of the year, our top individual agents, look at this female lineup here. Stacy Hartzler, Cricket Forsey, Pam Waldman, Rita Wolf, and Linda Heinrich. So give them a round of applause. They're all killing it. And then for our groups and teams, the Office of Daryl Bodel, Fox Real Estate Group, Team Schwab, Ellison Team Homes, and the Clark Group round out the top five. So give them a round of applause.
I told Donna at Tumwater that I was gonna pass her our team would pass her this month, so she should enjoy last month.
You got that ringer on your team.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cameron had a big good deal last.
I think they call that leverage.
But yeah,
Ooh.
you call the leverage. Yeah.
Okay, good job. It's exciting to see who's gonna move around and take the top spots, but congrats to all of our top producers so far. All right, next up, we are launching a new program. So we got the idea at Family Reunion where you get lots of great ideas. But we want to reward you additionally for referring agents that you think would be a good fit here, right? We want to grow with good in culture agents. So if you refer a licensed agent to join our market center, they can be newly licensed or they can be from another brokerage. They have to be licensed. And then when they schedule and attend a meeting, as long as they come to a meeting, you'll receive $100 check as a referral thank you right away. So
And who's the meeting with?
me, probably
So the
me.
agent does not have to be there.
The agent does not have to be there. You don't have to, you just have to tell me their name and I will find their phone number and call them. It's that easy, right? We don't want you to be spending your time like trying to recruit and, taking away from your business. But if you think that people, or, right now in this market, there's a lot of agents that are really struggling in our market, or their brokerages aren't doing a lot of classes or different things like that. So they are looking for more than, it's a little different than when the market's booming, right? So you might meet people that are other agents that are struggling or that are just feeling lost or feeling like they don't really know what direction to go. So I'd love to talk to them, and they don't have, even if they don't end up joining us now, you still get the $100 as a thank you for your referral. And then quick rules and regulations. They actually must meet with us, either Zoom or in person. Me, or if I'm not available, someone else on the leadership team, but probably me. And if you're on a team and you refer someone to join the team or the market center, that qualifies. The only thing that doesn't qualify is transferring from another Keller Williams. We try not to try to steal each other's agents. And then it doesn't apply if they join another Keller Williams, not Keller Williams Portland Premier. So that's it. Not a ton of fine print on that, but hopefully we will get some good referrals from you guys. And then all you have to do is just email me or text me or come talk to me in person. Just tell me their name. There's no formalized process, or Sydney if you can't find me. Okay, Austin, teach everyone something on command, and then we're going to get into our agent panel today.
It's not on my phone.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully no weird notifications pop up.
Let's pull up your dating profile.
Yeah, let's do it.
Speaking of weird notifications,
Whoa.
Like package received, and it's like something really weird. Okay, so I want to show you this, and I may have shown this to a couple people if they've been to some of my command classes. I get really excited about certain things that roll out, and I may have mentioned this already. I just don't think I demonstrated it, so I just want to show you. So when you are on your phone, you have the Command mobile app. You can go straight to the Command mobile app. I'm just going to open it up. Yes. Okay. So once you get into Command mobile, there is that new feature. I think I mentioned it before. It just rolled out, I think last week. You can now import your phone database into Command directly from your phone. It used to be the only way you could really do it is if you had iCloud or you had Apple or Android. You had to go to the iCloud or Google Contacts, export that darn CSV file, import it on your browser. It was just a lot of work because if you got you did something wrong, there's errors, not everyone would upload, and then get Scott Leroy involved to make sure it all gets done right. It was just a lot of work. But now your biggest database is now available to be imported directly into Command. So what you can do is when you're in the home screen of Command, you can go to the Contacts tab at the very bottom. Then at the very top, you're going to see on the top right an import button. Trying to reconnect. Oh, am I too far away? Stand right here. I'm need to be close to the computer. But then I can click import in the top right. And it's going to say importing personal account. Contacts will be imported to your personal account if you want to continue. You click yes, it's going to ask you for permission to access your contacts. But then you're able to access everybody in your contacts right here.
Great.
And you're
That
able
is
to just check the
wild.
ones you want, and then immediately send them over. So I don't know, I'm gonna send my friend Brent from Boise. Gonna click on him, click continue, begin import. And then boom, it's gonna import those people, and then you'll see them in your database on command. Any emails, phone numbers, social media accounts, anything you have connected to that contact, it'll be imported.
Wow. Awesome.
So it's really easy and seamless.
What about notes?
Notes, I don't know, I mean, if you have I don't know if there's like a note taking, I guess there's note taking in contacts possibly, but I don't know if those will necessarily. Move over, that's a good, I've never tried that, it's a good thing to maybe check.
Will you show everyone how did you get to that? Once you're in contacts, then what do
Yeah.
you click on to do that again?
Yeah, so again, down at the very bottom, there's the little contact icon. You click on that, I'll open up your database, and then you just click import at the very top. And then that's it. Easy peasy. I'll take you to it all.
Pretty cool. Thank you for showing us
Yeah,
that,
you bet.
Austin.
So.
And if you have any trouble, go see Austin and he'll help you with it. But it seems pretty straightforward. I'm gonna go try
I'm
that.
gonna try it.
Yeah.
I was just gonna do it there, but man. maybe I'll be present. I'll be present.
Matt Bailey asked about duplicates, that's a good question. I believe duplicates are protected by the email, so
Mhm,
if you happen
they
to
are.
have. Contacts, like let's say you have a contact in your database that just has an email, but then you take that same person from your phone that just has a phone number and you add them. There will be a duplicate because your phone contact version of them doesn't have an email, so it doesn't do that email check to verify that it's been duplicated. So just there is kind of a downside there, I guess. Fingers crossed.
But the upside's still enormous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's still on a wish list, like MailChimp does something where it says, if this person's my contact. Add that additional information, maybe one day, there's always wish lists on every service I have, so that's another thing I can just. Write on that list.
I
Yeah,
love
one
it.
day.
Awesome. Okay, so for our main topic today, we have an agent panel. Tony Lupe from the Fox team, Peter Clark and Terry Schneider. Come on up. They sit in the three closest, so the people on Zoom can see you.
Oh, okay, I get the middle.
I don't bite.
They start,
I don't bite.
want to be able to get out.
Let's make sure you guys are all on here.
Yes.
I mean, a napkin or something.
Okay, thank you guys for joining us. So we want to talk to you guys about today about converting clients who are saying things like, not right now, I'm gonna wait for the market to change, I'm gonna wait till spring, I'm gonna wait till summer. We'll start with Tony. What kinds of conversations are you having right now with clients who are saying those things?
Buyer clients, listing clients, both?
Both.
Okay. So with listing clients, I typically will go into kind of statistics. I'll dig a little deeper as to why they're using that objection, because typically the objection is not the real objection. It's not really what they're worried about or concerned about. I'll ask them what their experience has been in regards to timing markets, whether it be the real estate market or stock market.
Good question.
Yeah, and then I will ask them what they're waiting for to happen in the market that would trigger their response, whether it be listing or buying. And then go into usually showing them how that's probably already happening in the market or just on the cusp. And we should be prepared, at
Mhm.
least prepping their listing or scouring the market for them if they're a buyer, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
What is happening in the market near?
So right now, I think that we've seen inventory tick down to 1.6 months. We've seen rates go down to about 6%. I think we're on the cusp of what could possibly be another boom. Similar, not quite as ridiculous as we saw a year and a half ago, but similar with a lot of the buyers that didn't get an opportunity to buy homes, pulling themselves, saying they're going to wait for rates to tick down, and now we're somewhere around 6-ish%. Seeing the homes that they've been watching for the last couple months disappear before they can even go see them. Seeing days on market drop down, you'll get buyers that are getting a bit more motivated. And although we are bringing more inventory or attempting to bring more inventory to market because days on market is going down, that the inventory continues to go down as well because they're not lasting.
Yeah. Peter, what are you saying to clients who are saying they're going to wait for the market change or wait for interest rates to go down?
Besides sign here,
Mhm.
I tend to. Well, it depends on who I'm talking, but if I'm being real sassy about it, I might ask them if they're waiting for the interest rates to come back up to 7 or 9 or 10, whatever. But I typically talk to them about our typical cycle. And the fact that if on either side, that it tends to begin building at the first of the year and it peaks at the end of May, early June. And then it slows down. So if you're on the listing side, the sweet spot started a little while ago and will end in 6 to 8 weeks as far as getting on the market. If they're buyers and they're waiting and they're talking about interest rates, I will ask them what they think the average interest rate is over the last 30 years. And the answer is 7.4%. And if you go back 40 years, it's 8.6. So the fact that right now we are below the historical average, and to your point, it's looking like things are picking up. We're getting a lot more listing appointments set than we have for the last 4 or 5 months. And so they're doing that, but to your point, I think it's real price specific and location. We went to a listing yesterday in beautiful downtown Aurora. And when I did the Altos report, it was the first Altos report I saw where the market action index was below 30. It was specifically stated as a buyer's market. So, and that's due to lack of
Interesting.
inventory.
Yeah. Terry, same kind of question. What are you saying to your clients who are saying not right now or waiting for the market to
It's
change?
the same thing with these guys. I'm just really asking a lot of questions as to why are they waiting? Listings, I'm really trying to get them to go now, like Peter says, because you need them out there. I just had one put on the market one day, and by the weekend we had 5 offers. So it's happening. People are wanting to buy houses, and
What price point was that?
it was at 675 when we went over up into the 7s. So, and it was on a busy street, so people, they're really looking for houses. They want those the
Mhm.
houses out there. And just with buyers, it's just, why are you waiting? It doesn't
Yeah.
hurt. to add
When you
prices.
say it like that, it's such a simple question. Why are you waiting,
Yeah.
right? And so, yeah, Tony, you said you rely a lot on the stats. Peter, I know you do a lot of like the graphical analysis. Terry, do you use the data as well?
I do.
And why is that significant?
Well, because they can see it in black and white.
Oh,
I
yeah,
really see
right,
those buyers and sellers that, are very analytical.
right. It's,
Yeah.
it's not just then your opinion, right? It's the data. So Kelly,
Yeah, what do you guys think the biggest misconception is by consumers in the marketplace today?
There's a bad real estate market. It's
Yeah.
crashing.
Mhm.
I have a listing says that it's a buyer's market in Lake Oswego.
Yeah.
And first I ever heard of that,
Yeah.
but she won't list for that reason.
Right. So if you're not out, oh,
It's,
Even though
Right.
there's a $3.8 million listing without lake access down right off the lake,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a buyer's market.
Yeah.
one of the things that I talk about when we get there is the fact they say, well, and it can show them the charts. And if you show them pending sales, the last 5 years start up here and this year starts down here. What does that mean? Does that mean the market's crashed? What it means is there are fewer listings, there are fewer buyers, and the market has shrunk. But within that smaller market, everything is moving as we would expect it to if you price it right. And so is the market crashed? No. Are we seeing huge price reductions? Only when agents price homes and forget to remove the stupidity factor that was the last few years. That a $500,000 listing got bid up at 575, so it was really worth 500. And now it's probably worth 5.25.
Mhm.
That's a starting point, and then you go from there. But everything is just slowed down. I think Mark uses, market has decelerated, is that it? I think that's.
Yeah, it's decelerated. It's not depreciated.
Right, so it's just a smaller subset of a normal market, but the trends follow exactly like I would expect them to in any other year.
I have a son that's lives in Michigan, and he is getting married, so he's got a house, his fiance has a house, and they're gonna be moving into her house, so he needs to sell his house. But she lives in a 1,400 square foot home with 4 boys, and he's moving in. And he's like, I'm not gonna buy a house. The interest rates are too much. So I'm telling him, date the rate, marry the house, right? But it doesn't hurt bad enough yet to have 4 boys who are 4 to 12 years old living in a house in a 1,400 square foot house. So when it hurts bad enough, guess what? My son will be putting both houses on the market and they will be buying a house,
Yeah.
even if it's a 7%.
Change a
interest
great
rate.
motivator.
Yeah.
I think it's really important that we ask enough questions and seek to understand what the real objection or fear is.
Mhm.
Because typically the market's gonna crash, the market's crashing, the rates are too high. That's really not what they're really worried about or what the real issue is. So I think a powerful statement to say, to seek to understand is, tell me more about that. What more do you understand? What do you understand about interest rates? Or what do you understand about the market today or crashing real estate market, or even what causes a crashing real estate market?
Mhm.
Can you say that again? It's not as awesome, but like date the rate, marry
Near the house, yeah.
I never heard that before. Like,
Yeah, I use it all the time. with
Oh my
my
God.
neighbors, yeah.
It's very
Because
popular on
at some
real estate.
point, if the interest rate
It
goes
is.
down to
Yeah.
5, why not?
Yeah.
So
Right.
the question I always ask when they say, well, I'm waiting for the interest rates to come down, I ask them if they know historically, when the last time interest rates were below 3%. Everybody know? 1944 and 45 is when the federal government subsidized the rates to get the GIs coming home from World War II into housing.
Mm.
And the only other time recent, when
We
it
just went
happened
through
this time, it was subsidized by the federal government,
Because of a pandemic.
period.
So the next pandemic, we may see it.
So go bring something back from a foreign country, unnamed foreign country, start a pandemic, and we'll get the rates down in it.
Sometime 20 years after Haley's Comet comes, we'll see.
Right.
We'll put rates for free.
Right, but the common theme here is that you guys can speak intelligently about the market, about what's going on, because the fact is, your clients are reading the papers, they are reading the headlines of like, the whole banking system is gonna crash, real estate's horrible, interest rates, and so you have to be talking to your clients to be debunking them, right?
When was the last time a national news agency told the whole story? And one that wasn't terribly exciting and eye-catching, like, no, everything's fine. Yeah, that's not gonna sell anything. And so I will talk about that too, if they are headed that direction, is that what you read and see is what, sells papers. Well, that's how old I am. They don't have papers anymore. Sells broadcast, whatever it is. So,
Commercials.
Mhm.
I mean, you hear it on the news. Sometimes it's a bad time to buy a house. I'm like, who are you people?
Mhm.
Why are you doing this to us? That's not nice.
have you ever asked a buyer how much they enjoy being a renter
Exactly.
and paying for the landlord's retirement by,
That makes a good point, because
Yeah.
you probably ask, well, what's your situation now, right? Because that sometimes is really important, because a lot of times they'll talk about what their situation is before they'll talk about why they're not ready to buy.
Right.
Mhm.
And
somebody-
so if you dig deep enough, you find out that, well, we don't have our down payment. Well, we haven't been on the job long enough. Well, and you find all kinds of things that come up that are the real reason why they're not buying right now, not, we think prices are gonna come down. Right?
Mhm. Understanding their motivations. Is there anything else you guys are doing intentionally to find specifically motivated buyers or sellers? Or are you just having those conversations with all of your clients and database and just digging in to find people who are motivated?
Well, on both sides, I'm continually staying in touch with them. I mean, I have buyers, I've been showing houses here and there. And I've had them fall off the grid. But if you keep going back to them and just say,
Mhm.
hey, this house came up in this area you're looking for, they'll come back. Because
Mhm.
they'll remember you. You're not, just because they ghosted you for a little bit, doesn't mean that you need to ghost them.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
That's
I've
good.
had it
Long
happen after
game.
2 years, not hear from somebody, and you never know their circumstances. They had a couple of deaths in the family, they had illness. They're not sharing that with me, but I'm just staying in contact with them. And they bought and sold.
That's such a good thing to remember, right? So you didn't hear from for 2 years, but you're still sending them emails, information, all of that. And
Texting.
they're not responding, but they're still seeing it, right? And
Okay. case in point, going to a listing appointment Friday. And I went back and pulled up my file and I had them segmented into 2020 information, 2021 information, and now I'm building the 2022. Whether they're gonna list or not this time, I can't tell you. But I will tell you that Alex has been in touch with them probably monthly since before 2020, and when they have any questions, that's who they call. So it will pay off. So you're exactly
And it's
right.
easy to do that with the Altos reports, right? Because they
Totally.
will show you the layer of the years.
Yep.
So you can actually compare. Clearly, easily.
Yeah, I got Craig, we were at 990 and 20, and then we were at 1.1 and 21. Or 22, and we'll probably be about 1.3 now. It's like Oswego, so.
That's a buyer's market there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So my recipe is twofold. Number one is I'm fanatical with prospecting. I can be absolutely anywhere and I'm prospecting. I'm texting, I'm prospecting, I'm DMing, I'm prospecting, I'm posting on social media. I'm thinking about how is this going to engage a potential prospect. I'm at a bar with friends from in town and I literally got an appointment with a guy that was rude and cut me off at the bar. Anyway, I'm fanatical with it. So I'm never not prospecting. And then I always do my other recipe is do the basics at a high level with consistency. And there's just no changing the recipe, right? I mean, the recipe is you got to follow up and you got to make the calls and you got to drip on them and you got to send items of value and you got to, I mean, it's a pretty simple recipe, but it's hard to do it with consistency, not feel bogged down when you get the no's.
You don't have Alex?
That's really good. Say the recipe again, just in case.
So it's doing the
The
basics
basics.
at a high level with consistency.
That's so good. What things specifically are you guys doing to follow up with clients from who truly aren't ready now, but to stay in touch for the long term?
So I'll do a couple things. Some of them are kind of low touch, automated. I'll put them in my CRM on a drip system, which touches them every month. I make sure we go through the alphabet, 2 call letters a week. Every quarter, 2 call letters a week means every quarter you're going to go through the whole alphabet of your contacts. And I'm sending out the same message every quarter to someone. So it could be the success I or my team has had in a given quarter, week, or month. Kind of debunking the mouthpiece that is the news, because they have a bigger mouthpiece.
Are you actually calling those people?
No, those people I actually text.
Okay. Just curious.
And then I will go in my CRM, people I've engaged with about real estate, I will call and I usually make sure I get through everybody in my CRM, which is about 700 people a month. I'll get through, at least make a phone call, leave a message, let them see the missed call, whatever the case may be.
You go through all 700 every month?
Mhm.
Okay. Did everyone hear that? Yeah,
One way or another. Yeah.
right.
Can I borrow your phone for 1 second?
Sure.
I don't need to call anymore.
Oh,
I just want to hold. If you've been to my pricing class, one of the things I will often do is hold this up if you're happen to be younger and point to it and say, did you know you can talk on these? Do not underestimate there's
Yes.
emails and there's text. And so what? That's so easy, but a phone call. The value of a phone call cannot be determined relative to the other points of contact when it comes to converting. When there's a voice
Mhm.
and a person, and it makes a huge difference. We have 12,000 people in our database. We couldn't call them all, but we do have them prioritized, and Alex, the CRM gives a list to our buyers agents every day. And Alex follows it and it's on the phone.
Mhm.
If you text your clients and they respond, what do you do?
It depends. Depends on what the response is. If it's something that takes longer, my rule is if it takes longer than 5 minutes for you to think about it and type it, pick up the phone and call them. Also, if it moves them in category. So for me, similar, I categorize my leads. They could be sphere, they could be low, kind of just kind of a nurture or a watch or a hot. I have them all categorized. So if it's going to move them in category up, if I think they're becoming more interested, or I may need to touch them at a higher level, I immediately call them.
That's
And then if they don't answer,
I leave a message.
And the answer is, or the message is,
Hey, I just saw your text back. I think this is part of a bigger conversation. Give me a call. That's it.
perfect, perfect. Yeah, it's that simple.
That's great. Jerry, what kinds of things are you doing for follow-up?
Like drip systems, they get a monthly newsletter from me. If I have an address,
Mhm.
they're getting the monthly update on what their houses are available. We have that in command. So they get that on a monthly basis. I do my little pop-bys, 3 to 4 times a year, so it just depends on who it is. I just recently sent out to anybody that has bought a house or worked with me ever, they all got $10 gift cards to Home Depot saying happy spring. Here's things to check up on your, spring to-do list at home. So, I mean, I do simple things like that. And I get comments back on that. Thank you for that. This is wonderful. So, yeah.
Talk a little bit more about your pop buys, because I know you and I have talked about it, but just to share with everyone, how are you choosing who to give them to? How often are you actually dropping them off? Are you dropping and dashing? Are you knocking on the door?
I used to just drop them all off. It really depends on who that person is that I'm giving it to. If they're, I have to categorize mine to like, this is a great client, they're referring people to me, that kind of stuff. They're gonna get a higher end pop by than what, some of the people that aren't referring me to anybody. So, if they got the higher end, I think this month they're getting lavender dryer balls that are being sent by a company, it's called Client Giant. And I've got, just a handful in there, but these people, they're my lenders, they're buyers, they're sellers that have been referring me. So they're getting these things. And it says, from me, other people are getting the gift cards to Home Depot. They get birthday cards every year. They get happy home anniversary cards every year. So if it's their kids, and if they have little kids, they're getting birthday cards for their kids also with gift cards to Baskin Robbins, $5 for ice cream. So I just try to do for me, it's more of a personal touch, but they're also getting those other, here's our newsletter, here's what's happening on our team, here's what your home value is. So they're getting touched a lot.
Yeah, and to you, it's like second nature, right? Because you're doing all this, but that a lot of people aren't making all those personal connections with their clients.
Well, most of my
Future
business comes from past clients and Sphere, so, that's where I go get my business. And I do other things, like I work on expireds, I do others, but I farm, but this is where my business comes from.
Yeah. Okay, what are you guys saying if you have clients who are interested in listing, but are unsure about if they're going to be able to find the right house, or how are you managing that right now?
Got it.
Terry.
Working on it right now. So I kid you not, we probably have seen 50 houses for these clients that I'm showing houses to right now. And I just kept saying, we got to sell your house because the market isn't allowing us to get contingencies, and we've written 4 offers, all contingent. We're not getting them. So they finally agreed to do it. Their house sold in 2 weeks. We now have 30 days to find another house for them. We're really looking hard, and they know they may be in an Airbnb, and it's the grandparents, it's the daughter, and it's the grandchildren, and we are looking hard, but we were not getting anything. And now they're going to be a cash buyer and a strong buyer. So
explaining that to them in the
Yeah,
market,
but-
and that explaining that if you have to stay in an Airbnb for a few months till you get the perfect house, is worth it in the long term, right?
One of the basics there in that conversation, for me anyway, is to get them to understand that when an offer comes in on your house, it's price and terms, and we get to negotiate on terms. They go, what does that mean? I will say something silly like, well, we've sold over 3,000 homes and we've never had anybody in the street yet, and we're not going to let you be the first one. So what it means is we can have possession after close, we can have a longer close, and explain what those elements are, because I think you'd be surprised how many people aren't aware of the options that we can do. And I will tell people, getting people to the house is part of what our job is as representing on the sale of your house. But for me, the real job starts once we get an offer, making sure that you're getting all of the best value the market will allow and the terms that you need to make a comfortable transition. And so that's what when I get those, that's what I start with. It's like, hey, don't you understand? And the answer is, no, you don't.
Mhm.
Well, we're here to educate them
Yeah.
too, you know, sometimes it's showing them, writing those offers that say, sorry, you're not gonna get, you know, I could have told you they weren't gonna get it, but they're very adamant and they just have to be educated to know that it's not gonna work this way. So they can make that decision themselves.
Because a lot of your clients will have no idea, right? I remember asking that to my realtor, before I got into real estate. Wait, how do you buy a house and sell a house at the same time when you need the money? Like, you know, because most people don't really know the options. What do you do?
So I kind of play it out for them. I'll say, okay, so if things go according to you, in your vision, when's the date you would be out of this house and into your new one? Okay, and with that said, based on where we're at in the market, or where your home is at and the market in this area, I would assume that your home would need to be on the market here with this many days on market, go into contract. Now, and then I started explaining to them kind of the terms and conditions that we can negotiate in the contract, or that the conversations, the proactive conversations we have with prospective buyer's agents who may be writing an offer, the kind of conversations that we have. So, you know, I'm going to be proactive on your behalf. I'm going to talk to these buyer's agents that are showing the home. I'm going to get feedback from them. If they sound like they are going to be potentially writing an offer, I need to know the things. They're going to ask me a question that say, other than price, what's important to your seller? If I asked you that question, what would you say are important to you? And then they'll give me the cheat sheet. They'll give me the answers typically. And if they don't give me a deep enough answer, I'll say, and why is that important? And then keep digging until I get to why it's important. And then I can show them through the process how I will diligently defend that for them.
Yeah.
And how we come alongside on the other side and start then at point X shopping for homes for you. And then I explain how we can do that two ways. We can make contingent offers, or we can make a non-contingent offer depending on timing and potential rent back. And then anyway, we don't get too far in the weeds, but explain it enough so they understand, oh, there's solutions and there's options here.
Mhm. Right, that's great. Okay, next question. What do you guys say to first-time home buyers right now? Because owning a home is always pretty much a good choice, right? So what are you saying to those clients to get them out of renting if they're unsure?
Besides, good luck. Well,
First-time home buyers with lots of money.
They need some cash, obviously, but,
Mhm.
you know, talk to their lenders and find out what kind of programs they can get into.
Mhm,
But their cash, I mean, they have to have some down payments.
mhm. And what if they're like, I'm gonna wait for the interest rates, things like that? Or is there any different kinds of conversations that you bring up with the first-time home buyers as far as like comparing renting to buying?
is it rude when they say I'm waiting for the interest rates to come down if you laugh?
Yes.
So you can't do that.
Mhm.
Okay. Darn, I knew that I was doing something wrong.
I mean, so my daughter is also buying in a different state, so I get referrals from other states because I have children in other states. And they're getting ready to buy, and the first thing I did was gave them to a lender. And
Mhm.
like, this is what you need to do in order to buy your first home. You need to speak to a lender. You need to know what your closing costs, what your down payments, everything that you need to do. And so my daughter, both my son and daughter, my other son, they are working with my lender who is getting licensed in Tennessee because he wants to work with my daughter, which is nice. But yeah, that's the first place I put him. Talk to a lender, because I need to know what you're qualified for. You need to know the best way for you to get into a home. I can
Mhm.
help you find that home. I can write the offers. I can do the terms. I can walk you through that. That lender is so important to start there.
Yeah, and they can't really compare it to renting unless they are looking at the numbers.
Right, and the lenders will do that,
Mhm.
and I know one of the lenders that I use, if they're not ready, he will put them on a program. And he will say, this is what you need to do, so in 6 months, in 9 months, in 1 year, you have the money to buy a house. So,
That's great.
And if they're what's right, they're sophisticated enough. I mean, if you go through the difference between home ownership and renting, with current tax benefits and everything, you know, when it comes, I mean, imagine this, I have spreadsheets that do that.
Mhm.
But it gets down to the point where owning a home And the monthly payment, the net monthly payment is so much lower than what they're paying for rent that it's a no-brainer. But something you said, we're going through, or one of our buyer's agents is working with a relative of mine. And they want to live in Beaverton. And they want to spend $400,000. And it's not going to happen.
10 years worth of rent.
And
Mhm.
the point of this segue is that we sat down this morning and the buyer's agent said, look, I need to tell them they either have to have more money or start looking on the east side. I mean, period. And at some point, if you're spinning your wheels, they used to say it's better to cut loose and spend your time on prospecting real buyers than what you've got. Now, and he's working with a family member of mine, so a little bit, but I said, yeah, you need to tell them you are not going to be successful. So either get more money from my sister and brother-in-law or whatever it is, or start looking in a different place because we're not going to do it. And we've tried 5 times now, and you're in the wrong price point. If you're under 400,000 anywhere, there's investors that are just going to come and wipe you off the board.
Mhm.
I have one
Okay.
coming up for 385 on the east side.
Yeah.
So that connection's made, but I think being realistic is important.
43rd Powell for only
Wanna add anything to that?
Sure, yeah, so
That's got middle housing potential.
So if I'm speaking to a first-time buyer who's telling me that they're gonna wait for interest rates to come down, I would dig into that a bit deeper. I'd hit it straight on and just be like, you know, where are you? What would trigger you to be active in the market? What interest rate are you waiting for? Regardless of what they said, I would then ask, what if it never gets there? What if it never, ever goes there again? Then what do you do?
Yeah.
You will start having a pretty deep conversation at that point, typically. And then I will usually take it to the point that really the idea of it not being a good buyer's market right now, if you look at the last 2 years, is counterintuitive to what we're seeing, right? It's sure it's a great seller's market, but even at 1.6, 1.7, 2 months worth of inventory, it's still much better than the 0.4 or 0.6 that we were dealing with and buyers were struggling through just for, you know, a year ago and for the 18 months prior to. So really it's a cool convergence right now where you might be able to look at a few homes and not have to make the offer in the driveway and give up your kid and, you know, indentured servitude to get it.
Yeah.
Right, you'll have some buyer friendly things that can happen. And then I encourage them to speak with a lender and let's figure out based on a payment, how much home you can afford right now, because it's not timing the market that'll make you money. It's time in the market that'll make you money. So figure out how much home you can afford right now on a monthly basis. And then if interest rates do go down, once you own that home, you can refinance and it gets cheaper from there. That's worst case scenario. It only gets cheaper from there. And to get that lower interest rate in the future, you don't have to compete with anybody to get it. You already own the home. You're just contacted that same lender who's helping you out.
I did a spreadsheet, imagine that. But the concept of which is that 2 years ago, if you wanted to spend $500,000, the house got bid up to 550 or 575. And interest rates were 3. And what was that payment? Maybe not at this moment in time, but a month ago, that $500,000 house probably could have been purchased for 475 or somewhere in between, slightly below list price. And at 5.5 or 6%, the difference came out to be about $1.67 a day.
Yeah, it's $29 a month when I ran that
Yeah.
comparison.
Sure.
Yeah.
I created a graphic and I sent it out to my 700. I got 2 deals out of it.
That's amazing, right? You guys are great. And this is really
And I
important.
always called those a pizza and a beer.
Ah, right?
It's $29 a month. It's
Right.
pizza and a beer.
Right.
Now it's a pizza.
Have you bought a pizza lately? You're
Yeah.
not gonna get-
Right.
That's-
3/4 of a
Yeah.
pizza.
Yeah.
Well, they call that confusing.
A mini pizza and a beer.
Right. We have these 3 up here because there's all this noise in the market, right? We were talking about it earlier to our clients, you know, in the news and everything, but there's also, you know, among real estate agents, a lot of noise of like, oh, the market, it's going to be a terrible year. But you see 3 agents right here who are not surviving, they're thriving in this market. And I love hearing about everything you guys are doing, and you make it seem so like, I gotta go list my house, sell my house, buy my house, right? It,
2 or 4 o'clock later on this afternoon.
oh, I love it, right?
That's called the choice close.
I love it. I love it, you guys. So thank you guys for sharing everything. Before we wrap up, I just want to give 1 or 2 minutes just in case there's any questions from you guys or on Zoom.
One of the old time objection handling called is handling them up front before they ever happen.
Oh, yeah, talk about.
So
Mhm.
how you prepare and how you bring somebody into the conversation quite often takes care of it. It's called neutralizing objections. And my goal in every meeting is to answer everything before they ask it.
Give an
Then you gotta go
example.
back and check.
Mhm. Will you give an example of like how you neutralize an objection?
Well, whether it's a buyer or a seller, I talk about the market and I talk about historical trends, and I lay out when the best time to be on the market as a seller is, assuming that fits with our objective today. I mean, right now is the best time.
Mhm.
It's just those kinds of things. It's whether it's a listing or a buyer's presentation, we walk through it and say this, at the end of this, and we talk about interest rates, I'll talk about historical averages and, $29 a month or whatever is
Mhm.
necessary. And then it never comes up typically.
Yeah, that's great. Not being afraid to talk about the elephant in the room,
Mhm.
right? And just thinking about it from their perspective of, okay, if they've been reading all of this, I need to say some things to build up their confidence.
Things like, what is that? Internet, something with the internet, below that kind of
The
stuff.
World Wide
Our,
Web.
our buyers and sellers have way too much information and don't have the foundation to interpret it properly. So
Well
that's what we need to be doing.
Right, and everything on the internet is true. So
So
I know.
they're
I
getting
know
so
that.
much
So,
information.
so to thwart I agree. If Phil Jones says it too, if you haven't read his book, you should read it. It's like some of the perfect, the right words always say, or something like that. Phil Jones, you'll be able to look at it. Gary Keller has partnered with him actually and is bringing him in for a bunch of training consults. But I have the book in my office. I can tell you exactly the title, but he says, why are we so busy dealing with objections or working on objection handlers when we should spend our time creating an environment where the objection never comes up?
Ooh, yeah.
So exactly. You made me think of that. I was like, we're gonna sue him. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. So I structure my consults, whether it be buyers or listings, and most of them are listings these days for me, but knock on wood, but I structure my consult to have a high trust interview at the beginning. So I find out more about them, their family, their passions, their pains, their concerns. I dig in deep on them as humans first. And then I segue based on the information I've obtained during that. And the key then is to be interested, not interesting, right? Because everyone wants to talk about themselves. I segue from there and I tell them, perfect. I have all this great information. Thank you for sharing. What I'd love to do now is share who I am, who my team is, what we do, how we're different, some insight on the market, and see if there's a reason why we should do business. Is that fair? And then I get permission to go into my presentation, of which I can now tailor a bit to what I've garnered from them during that high trust interview.
What do you do at the end of your presentation?
I assume the close.
Ask for the business?
Of course.
What a concept.
Mhm.
I can't tell you how many listings I've
If you-
been on and I've asked for the business. And they go, well, nobody ever asks us that. I'm going,
If you
"Seriously?"
provided enough value, you
Yeah.
have earned the right
Yeah.
to ask for the business. If you don't provide value, you haven't really earned the right to. So,
It's especially fun to do when they start the conversation by saying, now you realize I'm not signing anything today.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
great.
great.
Perfect. I didn't bring anything for you to sign. It's gonna come to you.
Let's give a big round of applause to Tony, Peter, and Terry. Thank you guys so much. Good. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.